It's that time of week again. We're here for the Cover Price Top 10 list. Which books have moved most in the aftermarket? Absolute ultimate monsters, something new. Let's take a look at this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hello, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. And before we get started, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the description of this video for links to my Instagram, whatnot, eBay store, and email. So, Cover Price, we do this list every week. Cover Price is an independent third-party comic book price aggregating service. They take from different sources of internet sales, comic book sales, both graded and raw books. And they also produce lists, including this list of the weekly movers in the aftermarket, the 10 books that have been moving most quickly in after sales. And we always get some new books and some old books. And let's take a look at what made the top 10 list. It's con season, and coming in at number 10 on the list is Spawn issue 360, the Brett Booth 2025 MegaCon sketch variant that's limited to 1,500, selling for $91, $140, $160 fair market value in a near mint plus. Spawn fans love their Spawn stuff, and this is no exception. Spawn has been on fire lately for good reason. He's been getting awesome covers like this week after week. Like numerous other characters, Spawn got some love at MegaCon. Brett Booth delivered a limited variant for the show, a sketch version of his 1 in 50 version variant for this book. The 1 in 50 is seeing heavier monetary attention, but this sketch version is still in the cards for numerous collectors who missed the show and are recovering on the aftermarket. So let's go to number 9 on the list. And another MegaCon book. This is Magic #1, the Peach Momoko variant from MegaCon, Trinity Comics. This is limited to 777 copies. Cover A isn't really going for much, but this one, again, $105, $20, $160 for this book. Magic has been growing in popularity for years now. She's had a ton of eyes on her recently thanks to Marvel Rivals. Of course, when you pair Magic, Peach Momoko, and MegaCon with limited availability, there's going to be some aftermarket movement. Fortunately, I don't think there were any fights over this at MegaCon. Momoko collectors show up regardless, which helps propel aftermarket sales, as there will inevitably be those who missed out on picking up this book at con. Once we get further away from the event, it will be interesting to see how this book holds up. Generally, FOMO's going to FOMO, and people are going to want their books right around when they couldn't get to MegaCon. They want the book. They got to pay premium prices, and there are plenty of sellers who are going to go there, pick up copies that they don't want to keep, and sell them real quickly. This doesn't include Whatnot sales, which is a big platform for folks that are at these shows to then just go on that night at Whatnot and sell some variants. Let's go to number 8 on the list. And I think, with that being said, I'd be careful about paying these prices for these books right now. Maybe once in out of every maybe 10 or 20 books. I don't know what the real numbers are. Let me know if you have any concepts. That you'll get something that pops and is going to maintain fan interest. Usually not. Let's go to number 8 on the list. Oh, wait. Let's go to number 8 on the list, and it's all new Venom #1. This is the Humberto Ramos second print wraparound version, 1 in 25. We don't know who the host is right now. It's got a lot of people buzzing. Here, made copies for upwards of $100. Folks are spending money on some comic books. There's been a growing trend of popular books getting a second print and receiving ratio variants for said issue. This book is a perfect example with a ton of hype surrounding the release of Cover A, as it teased an all-new Venom symbiote with a mystery host. Numerous collectors missed out, and Marvel opted to release a second print ratio with an awesome wraparound cover featuring Venom from Humberto Ramos. Collectors have been pouncing on the chance to secure a copy on the aftermarket, as most LCS will not order enough copies of a second print to hit ratio. Again, $100 for this book. Buyer beware. FOMO. Let's go to number 7. Number 7 is The Kill Lock #1 from IDW in 2019. Raw books going for about 20 bucks, and there are very few graded books. There are only 10 blue labels on the census, 5 9/8s, 4 9/6s, and a 9/4, and the 9/8s, only 2 sales on Gold Collect at least. $70 in 2020 and $75 in 2022. What is the reason for this? Sci-fi series have been all the rage, and this book is the most recent to have been optioned. Optioned. Not greenlit, it's optioned. There are rumors circulating that Amazon has optioned this series, but no direct confirmation has yet to hit the mainstream. The rumor did have fans immediately running to the aftermarket to secure a copy of this interesting, albeit mostly forgotten series. Just that hint has caused this book to shoot up from $3 to $20 rapidly. Keep your eyes peeled. If you see this in a back issue bin for $3, $1, $5, maybe grab it. I don't know anything about it, never read the story, so I really don't have much to add, other than let's go to number 6 on the list. Number 6, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, #1, the official prequel of the upcoming Disney Plus series. First appearance of Susan O'Hara. This is cover A, and it is just selling for about 10 bucks. It's not a huge thing, but I think people just want to read the book, having not jumped on it initially. They're watching the show. Some may forget, but we just got an animated Spidey series in Disney Plus. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man suffered a bit of controversy around the release, but since then it's been smooth sailing. It's a solid series that a lot of fans enjoy, so they naturally visit the aftermarket to see which ancillary books they could get their hands on. This book just so happened to have dropped a month before the release of the animated series. It acts as a prequel to the show and features a first appearance of Susan O'Hara, a familiar last name for Spidey fans to latch onto. So, a book that I think just people want to have and read and interact with the series. Let's go to number 5 on the list. And we got our Mark Spears. This is Mark Spears Monsters, issue number 2. The 2025 MegaCon No Mask Capture Collectible second print Ultimate Fallout 4 Djurjevic homage, which is limited to 250. Again, books selling $60 to $80. Mark Spears has been going, that stuff has been going bananas. Another Mark Spears MegaCon variant for our list. This time, it's not an ASM homage, but Ultimate Fallout 4 homage, a nod to the next generation of Spidey. These limited Mark Spears variants know how to get the market moving, but with MegaCon just finishing up as of this writing, expect more MegaCon variants to hit the list. Let's go to number 4 on the list. Mark Spears Monsters, number 2. The 2025 MegaCon Davis Rider Comics second print ASM homage, which is ASM 316 homage, which is limited to 200. Copy selling for 151 bucks. Wow. Again, crazy prices. So we have like 5 books so far in the list that are like brand new books, 4 of them from MegaCon that are like averaging about $100 books. Insanity. MegaCon, the most recent large Comic-Cons in the first of the year, has unleashed a ton of awesome variants to pick up. I think MegaCon's in Orlando, right? I didn't get to go. One of the more popular books is this one, an ASM homage and a Mark Spears specialty. Mark Spears has dominated these lists for weeks and expected to continue if the fan base keeps gobbling up every Mark Spears issue they come across. Again, yeah, both of these are highlighting the werewolf. Again, I'm not spending $151 on this book. Let's look at number 3. And number 3 is Magic the Gathering, The Shadow Mage. This is the first appearance of Magic the Gathering in comics. About a $10 book. 9/8's now up to $110, $129. Let's take a look at what we have. There are 216 copies on the census, just over half of those in 9/8. Go down to a 5.0. And the 9/8 is selling for about $100. So we look at historical prices. This jumped up in 2021. Boom, right? It came out in 1995, so maybe they just weren't slamming it. Nobody bought it prior to that. At any rate, up to $300 and has been kind of corrected down to about $100 since. 216 copies on the census, as I said. While Pokemon has stolen the spotlight lately, Magic the Gathering is still alive and well. So much so it is recently announced Hasbro aims to help develop film and television adaptations. Once word hit the market, fans immediately sought out this book, the first Magic comic to release 2 years after the card game debuted. It came polybagged and with a card, which will likely lead to limited availability of promo copies simply because Magic is a card game, and back then, like now, players played. It's still collectors are now out in force searching for this book. I have come across this book a couple of times. It's one of those books I had to check. You should just be familiar with it because it's going to be, I found it at flea markets, dollar bins, that sort of thing. Again, still not an expensive book, like $10, 9.8, about 100. So if you find it high grade, you want to get it graded, go ahead. Magic Gathering is very popular. I don't do that. I mean, even if I wanted to, I don't have the time. So yeah, if Hasbro is serious, but Hasbro, we'll see if they actually can develop it. Let's go to number 2 on the list. And number 2 is Captain America number 25. This is the first time that Sam Wilson takes on the mantle as Captain America. This is cover A from 2014. And it's going for about $20. No, it has tipped over 109.8. I should have held on to that 9.8 I picked up. I picked up a 9.8 for $65 a couple months ago. Anyway, we could see historically this book in a 9.8. There are 1,500 copies on the census, 729 9.8s, almost half of them. And this is a book. Look, okay, basic economic supply and demand, right? The comic boom comes. All of a sudden, 2021 comes, and wait, Sam Wilson's going to be playing Cap. Because Captain America or Falcon and the Winter Soldier Disney Plus series. Let's pay $500 for a 9.8 of this thing, right? And then it settled down pretty quickly. By the end of 2021, it was back under 200, and it's kind of dwindled down under 100 recently. One of the issues with this book, and again, this is a very modern book, 2014. There are a lot of copies out there, a lot of potential 9.8s. A lot of these got submitted. That's what happened during the boom, right? People submitted a lot of comic books. So the supply of 9.8s has overtaken the demand for 9.8s. And I think Sam Wilson's going to be around as Cap for a while. It's not like he's a villain. He isn't going to be done with this movie. Even if there's not another Captain America movie, he'll be as part of the Avengers and what have you. But how many people are keeping, how many collectors have this book in their personal collections? This is the book they want to keep. Or is this like with, Thor number 1 with the first Jane Foster's Thor, or, the God Butcher, or any of these movie speculation books that are from the 21st century? I think, COVID was a case and a half for that. I think unlike, let's say, Amazing Spider-Man 129, between people who are diehard Punisher collectors and people who want to collect runs of Spider-Man, there are a lot of people that want that book in permanently as part of their personal collection, right? How many people are collecting this Captain America run? How many people, it's a much smaller number. And what happens with speculation on modern books is the comic boom people were submitting them like bananas. Now, not only that, but you have plenty of, more than half of the copies are under 9.8. Those are worth very little. And the other thing that was, since turnaround times at CGC were so slow, people wanted these graded books and they weren't coming to market, right? So more and more people are buying raw and getting them graded. So there was this backlog. All of a sudden you had this unearthing of a bunch of 9.8s or other graded copies of this book once CGC started to catch up, and then the demand for it was no longer there. Will there be demand after the movie comes out? I think it'll go back to where it was to be a $50 to $80 book in a 9.8, which is probably not really worth getting graded in a 9.8. Now, let's flash back to the end of my show from last week. Stop it by when we come back next week. What do you predict? Put it in the comments below. Let's guess what the next week's number 1 is going to be. I'm going with Fantastic Four number 209, the first appearance of Herby the Robot. Let me know. So what is number 1 on the list this week? Well, it's Fantastic Four 209, the first appearance of Herby the Robot. This book came out in 1979, and I remember being 12 years old, and a Fantastic Four cartoon was on Saturday mornings, and I'm like, where's Human Torch? They replaced Human Torch. He was supposedly committed to maybe being developed into his own property. They couldn't use him for this particular show that came out in the late 70s, so they created Herby the Robot for the TV series, and then they introduced him in the comics, and we saw in the trailer for Fantastic Four that we're getting him in the movies. So here we have kind of that crypto factor going on. Book selling upwards of 40 bucks, 9.8. Now, this is also a 1979 book. This is very early in the direct market versus newsstand era, right? Just months into it. But books from the 1970s are much more difficult to get in 9.8 than books from the 80s. As you go into the 80s, they're more just the way collectors collected and the fact that there were direct market options. There are only 321 Universal Blue Labels in the census, 77 of them in 9.8. So it is a hard book to come upon in a 9.8. Are people going to fall so far hard in love with Herby the Robot that they need a 9.8? It's possible that you could get, 77 of those people or somebody that's just a Fantastic Four collector, right? So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, this book is kind of, it was, nothing. It was at a 9.8. Okay, it's a 1979 book. Maybe somebody will pay $100 for it. And then boom comes, and then we get Herby the Robot. And this was a speculation character. I have plenty of copies of this, not 9.8s, but I have a bunch of, I just see when I'd see it, I'd pick it up because why not? It was a decent spec play. It was down to $142 a year ago, just over a year ago. And then boom, the poster comes out, goes up to $400. And it was kind of settling around the $250 to $300 range since the trailer came out. And after months of patiently waiting, the fan base finally got the first trailer to feast upon. Within, we got our first look at Herby the Robot, who first appeared in this book. We won't lay out the history here, but Herby is kind of a big deal when it comes to Galactus. Both Herby and what appears to be Galactus appeared in the first trailer, but their interconnectivity is not yet known. If Marvel is following the comics, there will be a connection, but it remains to be seen just how deep it goes. Again, I think it's not so much how he's connected to Galactus, just the fact that he's in the film, and then you're going to have more people eyes on this character, and it could drive up the or maintain the price, let's say. So that's the top 10. Let's take a look at the runners-up, numbers 11 through 20 on the list. We'll go quickly. 11 is We Stand on Guard, number 1. Dystopian comic series set in the future where the United States invades Canada for their water resources. I see why this made the list. Number 12 is Spawn 356, number 1 on the list last week, a Mark Spears cover. Number 13 is New Avengers number 33, the Gabriel Dell'Otto cover. Next big Avengers Doomsday rumors here. And the latest rumor, Doctor Strange plays a prominent role in starting the multiversal war. Multiverse of Madness and What If. We see how Doctor Strange can influence the fate of the multiverse. We even see the beginning of an incursion in Spider-Man No Way Home. The latest theory focuses on Doctor Strange being the cause of all the incursions across the multiverse, and Doctor Doom being the one who wants to unite all the universes into one battle world. It's a fascinating theory that relies on story elements from 2015's Secret War. This book highlights the first incursion using Earth as the main collision point. Okay. Number 14, the Magic Net Tease. Number 15, we saw Galactus in the trailer. His first full appearance here in his short pants is in Fantastic Four number 49, his first cover appearance, as well as first cover appearance of the Silver Surfer. We did not see Shalabal in the trailer. Number 16, the Amazing Spider-Man number 62, Scotty Young, second print, Virgin 1 in 25. And then number 17, Dark Horse presents Annual 1988. Buffy's getting a revamp. Revisits the role. The show does not focus on her original character. Instead, the show will be sort of passing of the torch to a new Slayer. Sarah Michelle Gellar took to Instagram to confirm the news, but also to share the journey she took to decide on reprising the role. Is this the first appearance of? It's a Hellboy cover. First comic book appearance of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now, my next question is, do I have this? I collected Dark Horse. And so I hope that I collected this particular book. It'd be kind of disappointing if I didn't get it as part of my pull list back in the day. I do have every issue Dark Horse Presents, I believe. I might be missing one random issue, but I think I finished the run there. Dark Horse, Dark Knights, Dark Horse, Annual. I do have it. That's an expensive book. I did not realize that. Huh. What does a 9.8 go for? $180. That's okay. So yeah, Buffy interest, pumping that book up. And number 18, Laura Kinney Wolverine number 1, J. Scott Campbell second print, black and white, Virgin 1 in 25. Number 19, this is classic Fantastic Four cover by John Byrne. And 9.8 for 136. Okay. And then number 20 is Earth X Volume 1, number 12, the first appearance of Shia LaBeouf as a Silver Surfer. I found a newsstand copy of this. I think they got a flea market or something. And that is, much harder book to find for, a book from 2000. So that's going to do it for the Covrprice top 10 list. Let me know what you think of the books below. And then we'll play this game every week. Put in the comments, what's going to be number 1 next week? I have 2 thoughts. My runner-up is going to be Sentry number 1. There are also some variants of Sentry number 1, including a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. But I'm going to put it number 1 is like kind of a last gasp of this book on these Hot 10 lists. It's going to be Hulk number 1, the first cover appearance of Red Hulk. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd like to thank you all for stopping by. You can take a look at a couple of my other videos here. And this is Jim saying, until next time, enjoy your comics.